Winspiration, the way to the essential. On UK Health Radio, Winspiration brings wisdom and information for an extraordinary future. Together, we can shape the world we want to live in. So let's get real and create the idea. Be extraordinary. Welcome to another episode of Winspiration Radio, and as we normally say, we bring you wisdom and information for an extraordinary future. Extraordinary future. When we came up with the first time with this expression, we said, what we could do as humans would be extraordinary about the normal. But today, when we look outside, we say, extraordinary. Are we really ready for it? Or should we really come back and be first natural again? If we look at the world, we are so much programmed and normed. And that's why I'm so happy and grateful to have today as a special guest, Gopal Norbert Klein, but he loves to be just named Gopal. And he did a lot of things in life. He studied informatics, so the kind of computer science, and went more and more because of personal situation. We will, I guess, learn a little bit more from him soon in how he can help himself get rid of psychological problems, I like to call it, and develop techniques or ideas how to very fast solve those problems. And I personally had the advantage with a session with him, and it was really surprising. I attended a lot of things already that had helped so fast. So that's why I'm very glad that he took the time today and just to share and discuss some of his ideas and how he is on the way of helping people to maybe one day to create an extraordinary life. Thank you for being part of the show today, Gopal. And if you'd like first to add something about the introduction, so please go ahead. Otherwise, please explain why you came to this, I call it just to the direct way to the sources and not just polish the surface.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation, and I'm very happy to share my insights here with you and your audience, of course. And I'm sure that the information you will hear now from me have the possibility to really deeply change your life, because that's the result of my own research of my own life and the transformation of my own suffering. So it's like you said, I came from the area of computer science. And there you cannot deal with, you cannot have illusions. You're forced to look at what it is, otherwise you get crushed. So from that perspective, or with that mindset, I approached my own suffering and did a lot of therapy myself, and searched with enlightened masters, with healers, with therapists. And finally, I really came to the point, as we have to do it in computer science. There's a point, and the principles, they are always simple. It's complicated as long as we haven't found the point, the core thing. And I would like to share that with you. We have,
yes, please.
We have not hours, so
best value we can give to the listener.
Yeah, I have to compress it a little bit, but nevertheless, it makes easier to understand. So what is it? So the core of all suffering is that we are not daring to share our core emotions in our relationships. So this is it. So I have to repeat that the source of all problems, of all suffering we have here, is that we don't dare to share our core emotions within our relationships. And the core emotions are
Only aware with the book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Number one is I didn't live my true self. And second, I didn't dare to show my emotions. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
Oh, there's a book out there from this nurse who was 20 years in a hospice, and she wrote a book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And number one is I didn't live my true self. And second is I didn't dare to, like you said, explain or share my emotions. So that's really the service, kind of empiric proof that it's the truth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, life is relating, because only if we relate, energy flows. Yes. If we don't relate, we have no contact, and energy flows only with contact. It's like we want to, it's like also on the technical level. So we have to, or I have to find out, or many researchers try to find out what is contact, what does that mean for us humans. Mm-hmm. And if we break it down to the really deepest core, it's that. It's the deepest connection we get is if we are able to share these emotions, these two emotions. These two emotions are at the center of our being. And we don't dare to do that because it is all connected with developmental trauma. Yeah, so the term that's what's all about is developmental and attachment trauma. And I mean, it's obvious the two core emotions I mentioned are what we call negative emotions. I mean, it's sadness, loneliness, and anger and hate. This is something we say it's negative. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is the main blockage. So it's difficult to explain it in a few words. These two emotions are associated with our core needs. So on the emotional level, attachment level, we have two needs: more closeness and more independence. That's what we need as a grown up on the level of relationships. We want to merge, or we want to be more close, but at the same time we don't want to disappear. We want to stay ourselves, and this is not a contradiction. We can experience that at the same time as healthy grown-ups. We can experience merging and coming close together and independence at the same time if we are more or less healed or healthy. But developmental trauma means that we are not able to do that. Yeah, we suppress one or both aspects. So either we suppress our autonomy, and this is connected with the core emotions of anger and hate, or we suppress our desires for closeness, and this is associated with the core emotion of sadness and loneliness. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So if we suppress one or both of them, we are not able as grown-ups to experience what we really need: closeness and independence at the same time. And this is why this is the solution. Because if we are able to share both of them, then we are fully connected and we are at the same time fully independent.
If I understand you right, you don't care so much where it comes from. Is it parents or whatever environment? Just, well, here's a situation, and if I solve this problem, it's fine. Like there is waste or garbage in the garden. Doesn't matter really who put it in there. Just take it out, and the garden is clean.
Yeah, exactly. There's no past. Mm-hmm. The body has no story. The body has no history. The body doesn't live in time. The body is always here now. And mm-hmm. the question is how it is possible to suffer from childhood trauma if we are not in the childhood anymore. How is that possible? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and exactly, it's like that. the body, the mind recreates the suffering in every moment new by projecting. That's why we suffer. And as soon as we try to solve things in the past, we are absolutely lost, because there is no past. Past are thoughts that have the label past, but there is no past. It's always in the present. So it doesn't help at all to look in the past. It's usually in therapy, it's a hindrance if someone knows what has happened in the past, especially if there's been severe shock trauma. It's usually a hindrance. We have to look how the mind creates the distance in every moment new, by what kind of projection.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening in relationship. We create unconsciously distance by projecting.
Mm-hmm.
We project an action that the other is doing if we come closer. And also we can directly look at that, what that means. And it's, again, very simple. There are only 4 possibilities. Either we think the other will attack me, the other will leave me and abandon me, the other will ignore me, or will manipulate me. These are the 4 possibilities of projecting danger onto my partner, and as a result, create distance. But it's all a dream. It's a dream that has a basis of real experiences in the childhood, but now is projected into the future by the mind.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't dare to share these core emotions, because we expect that something of that, what I said, of these 4 reactions will happen.
As you're coming from the computer science and like everything in the universe is frequency, so there's frequencies in the computer and there's frequencies in the body. So is trauma just a kind of fixed frequency, and now you run by the program, so just changing the program?
No, it's not. But it's important that you say that, because we can I can talk about a way of a misconception. Trauma is not a frequency. The frequency is the result of trauma, or can be the result. Yeah. A lower frequency can be the result of trauma. Mm-hmm. But how do we create a lower frequency now? Also, there's no trauma environment anymore, and this is done by the mind.
Back in the past, or we with our mind we create the past every day.
No, we imagine the future. Yeah. By imagining a defense reaction in the future, we lower our frequency.
We fantasize what could happen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing, and that's why we cannot solve that by all kinds of energetic and esoteric things. Yeah. It's like it's a misconception of layers. It's the same as if you are thirsty and you want to solve your thirst by raising your frequency. I mean, this is not possible. Mm-hmm. The body needs water. Yeah. And at the same time, the body needs connection and interaction. And if connection and interaction is disturbed, we have to solve that on that level. Yeah. Yeah, and we cannot bypass that. And a big part of the spiritual field is actually living by that idea that we can bypass development of trauma, and this is not possible. Yeah. Of course, we can create experiences and realizations on higher levels of consciousness, but the issue in the body is not resolved. And as soon as we come back from the samadhi, even samadhi come back, the mind still creates the projection if it is not solved on that level.
So this is a general saying anyway, just if they just treat the symptoms, it never will work if you not really get rid of the root cause. So you're not born with the insight. So what made it that you suddenly could really realize it, or not just on the intellectual level, that I feel really what you're talking about? It's not just, oh, I read a book and talk about it.
Yeah, you mean, well, it's my whole life story. I started with, because I was very traumatized myself. I had to start my search at about 12, and at the age of 12. Now I'm almost 50. And from 12, it was like the suffering was so strong, so intense, that from day and night I tried to find a solution. Every day there was such a pressure, and the result was that my whole life I tried to find out what's going on. I read hundreds of books. I meet all the masters and teachers and healers, and I did maybe 30 years of therapy myself as a Klein, and it was my whole life. Yeah. And what I think is that slowly this it sank down into the subconscious and worked there. And then there was a turning point. The turning point, the first one, was when I met a trauma therapist for the first time, and she understood what my real problem was. That was the first turning point. And the second turning point was when I first read the book of Dr. Lawrence Heller, the NARM book, a book about trauma healing, developmental trauma healing. And then I really got a really deep understanding. And there were other scientists like Stephen Porges and David Berceli and all the trauma specialists. And then I got trained in these methods and did my own work and tried to find out. And that still was all too complicated for me. I thought it's not working like that. We cannot treat people years. This is nonsense. This model doesn't work. We cannot have a therapist for everyone and treat them for years even. This idea is not working. Yeah. And I was thinking, what is the point here? Mm-hmm. What is the point here? What can we do? I mean, I don't put my car into a garage and the guy says, well, maybe we can repair it, maybe not. It may take maybe 3 months or even maybe 3 years. I don't know. It's very expensive. I mean, I would say, are you crazy? But this is how we deal with these issues today. Yeah. And that was not acceptable for me. And so I insisted on there must be a solution. And yeah, and one day, I would say, after long meditation and prayer, something entered my consciousness, and from there I started to spread it into the world. And there were two things. The first one is the self-help method of honest sharing, and the second is the trauma therapy method I called floating.
Great.
So just to add that. Just to add that that may be important for people from the professional fields. Both methods are not the result of scientific research. They were, as a complete package, appeared in my consciousness.
Okay, so modern words, we say you channeled, or you got the idea of the two techniques, and you just mentioned for the professionals, okay, it's not what we say scientifically proved, and unfortunately we always have to say it, and you get a lot of shit in internet and everything. I once said a sentence: you don't need the therapy, just the courage to be. Oh God, a lot of shit in Facebook from therapists. You don't have a clue how people suffer. But in the end, it always boils down: how can we really be the true self and dare, like you said, to share what is really going on in us. So, like I said, because of relationship is the most important in life. So, and now we're curious, what is it, what you came up with to make everything a little bit easier, or at least faster?
Yeah, the first thing is the honest sharing, the self-help method. It's a method, and well, it's like an easy, simple instruction how to speak. Not what to speak or what to say, but how to speak, how to share what's inside of us. That's the point. So the honest sharing uses a structured way of talking to create a real deep connection and bypassing the ego. So if I force myself, forcing is the wrong word, but if I insist on doing it correctly, I will bypass my ego. Ego means creating unconscious separation or distance. I bypass my ego and bring two people together on the deepest level possible, and the result is a deep transformation. And the special
is a little bit clearer. So the ego is something we created to live on this planet here, or have the idea we need it. But then you said to talk, and by talking, passing by the ego. Well, who is talking then?
This body-mind machine is talking. Though my work is not spiritual work. My work is how to heal and transform the body-mind machine. And of course, the what we are truly are has no problem anyway. It's just the witness. So that's the confusion also. Yeah, this has to be really be clearly discussed separately. There's the true self that has no problem. There's no body. There's no center. It's like a vastness. Yeah, we are that. But if we are not aware of that and the body suffers, we have to take care of the body. So even an enlightened person would probably drink water if the body is thirsty. That's I would think that he would.
Dalai Lama needed to go in the hospital.
Yeah, it's the body-mind machine, and the body-mind machine needs water, it needs food and shelter, but it also needs connection. Yeah. If these machines, if these bodies don't live in deep relationships, they suffer. Not the true self. The true self never suffers, but these bodies suffer. And there we have to this has to be approached on exact that level. Yeah. And what we are doing usually is it's like a blind spot. We are absolutely aware of our physical needs like food, like water and so on. Yeah, that's obvious. And also we work on the spiritual level, energetic, non-transpersonal. This is also part of the discussion. But what about this need of connecting on the emotional level? So this is the blind spot, and there's the problem and also the solution. And the honest sharing helps us without being a therapist, without being enlightened, without complicated things, for everyone to create that connection. And the ego is
the connection. You mean the connection, me and someone else. But when you worked with me and brought me to the sharing, I also had this so strong feeling. It's a first-time memory, really a deeper connection to myself or the true self. So it's connections in this way.
Yeah, absolutely. The connection between the resolving of developmental trauma and spiritual experiences or spiritual realization is nothing more than the relaxation of the body. If the body can relax, then the energy system opens. And if the body can relax, it can interact with others. It can allow deep relationships. If the body cannot relax because of developmental trauma, the connections and relationships are not possible. And also the realization that there's more is not possible. And also that makes biologically sense, because if the body has a deep need, if for example, if I'm starving, it makes no sense for the body to open up for transpersonal spaces. The body needs something, that the attention has to be forced to the body in order that the system survives. So it altogether makes absolute sense for me. Yeah. So by honest sharing, we create deep regulation and relaxation whilst being in contact. This is the point. Yeah, this is the point. Relaxation while being in contact.
Yeah.
And this opens the door to higher realms, we could say. Automatically, without effort, without meditating. Automatically, it's the same. Yeah, the relaxation and the opening is the same, actually.
Yeah. If I understood you right, it's nearly impossible to do it alone.
Not nearly, it is impossible. Absolutely.
It is impossible. It is impossible. There may be some super But well, maybe they wouldn't have a trauma then. So why is that? Are we so disconnected? Are we so blind, the blind spot? Is there so much fear to go to the, why can't we do it ourselves?
You mean transforming ourselves or healing ourselves? Yeah, because we have a mammal nervous system. And for mammals, being alone in the time of where we had to live in the nature means death. If we are not connected in nature, mammals die. Yeah, they need the group to survive, and this is why our nervous system is fundamentally based on living together and exchanging. And if this is only disturbed, the body has severe problems. We suffer. And internally, to face states and emotions that are connected with life threat in childhood, we need resources. Yeah, it's like you cannot send a 3-year-old child into the jungle; it will die. So the child has to grow up, needs local authorities, and maybe needs weapons, needs advanced people who know the jungle and so on, and then they go and then can cross the jungle. And for us, it's the same. If I want to allow things to rise inside of me that I believe they are a life threat, I need resources. And the main resource for our mammal nervous system is connection. So we cannot approach developmental trauma without a resource in form of at least one deep connection on the outside. That's not possible. And people often, I mean, the typical example is people try to meditate. So what's happening is they sit down and all the stress comes up, but they have no resources. And instead, it's the opposite. Sitting in silence is the opposite. Yeah, because you remove every resource in a way. Yeah, you bring yourself into total aloneness, and for the body, the body gets crazy, and then the mind is running, or the body creates symptoms. This has nothing to do with meditation, and will lead nowhere. Yeah, the body, meditation happens if the body relaxes, and without security, the body will not relax. Because relaxation means I sacrifice my capacity to react on dangerous situations. So there's a price for relaxation. Yeah, okay, with relaxation, the healing happens and the transformation and the opening and so on. But the sacrifice is that I sacrifice my capacity to react. And vice versa. If I keep up the stress, I have the capacity to immediately react on dangerous situations. Yeah. So, but the danger in the nervous system today is created by projections. So, and these projections we resolve by exchanging what's inside of us.
When you just mentioned the permanent stress, listen to a video on YouTube, in German, where you said, "Oh, it's so tough to reach people that they get it," and you just had this example with the 3-year-old in the jungle. So you need to develop things. So what is the reason why it's so tough to help people be a child that you can go in the jungle? Is it because the society is so much more stress than ever? Maybe that you permanently in alert, or it's just so we say the elderlies or the village is not there to develop the child, or both?
Well, the easy answer, a simple answer is nobody wants that. Nobody wants to approach the blind spot, neither the individual nor the collective, nor the society. The whole society we have today is based upon ignoring what I'm talking about here. This is the basis of our whole society. So and it also makes sense, because we have two parts in us. The one part is suffering and wants healing, of course. But the other part believes that what would result in healing and transformation is dangerous. So we have at least two parts, and there's a part that inside of us prevents us from looking there. Yeah, because in childhood it was dangerous, so we had to remove, blind ourselves so that we survive the childhood and not get crazy. And this part tries to protect us today still. That's why it's so difficult. The system says, I say, look at that, this is the solution. And the system says, no, I don't want to look that. It's dangerous. I will die if I look there.
Yeah.
And of course, around that, we have what you described, the situation in the families, in the society, the media, the school. Yeah, the school is one of the worst things on earth, what's happening there. Yeah, many factors. And what I see is people need a level of suffering until they are ready to look at that.
Yeah.
So before that, it's almost impossible.
Yes.
I don't know if I've answered your question, actually.
At least we will come to the same result, because I read also somewhere that a lot of people coming to you says, oh, they had a lot of therapies and everything. It's really often something of survival, because now I'm ready to get rid of all the normal treatments. And when I cut down my law office, tax office, and started with network marketing, I realized those who really studied or whatever, no, network marketing, nothing, it's not a real business. But only those who had a crisis were open to see a different world. Or if we say these near-death experiences or whatever, they suddenly get rid of all the beliefs and what is this, like a kind of illusion. the bubble bursts and then, oh shit, I see reality. And then I can open up for all the possibilities. Because if I understand you don't say it directly, but if we would skip all the fear and all the wrong beliefs, simply said, we could create out of the abundance a kind of paradise on earth with wonderful relationships.
There's nothing to skip or overcome or change. It's not necessary. The only thing that is needed is to share what's there. We don't have to develop.
Okay.
We don't have to bypass, share. This is important because we are programmed in the way. Yeah, but the transformation happens by just sharing. Even if you share your blockages, your fears, the sharing itself is the solution, not to overcome it.
It's the next step deeper. Yes, right. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so the first very big aha already here for me, and being more and more careful for the words. And you use also the kind of word of feel relaxed or feel safe in this. So I know Havel Hendricks is a kind of relationship guru or whatever in the US, and also talks about a safe dialogue with couples. So because there is a good training possibility with those who are near. And if I understand you right, you said the best possibility to learn and develop is in, what do you call it, close relationships?
Yeah, a partnership is the place where it is the safest, because both have no outer interest. There's no power difference or no hierarchy. So both want relationship. That's the main point, and that's why it's the most intimate. And the more intimate something is, the deeper things can come up. Yeah, closeness and the fact that things come up from childhood is the same. So we come closer and things come up, and we have to resolve and deal it. And this means just share it without acting out.
And we say in the childhood, we get a lot about the survival strategies. We need the love. We don't get it. So if we later as adults go closer in something, what we call love, we automatically get closer to these painful situations. Even we don't want to go in the past, but it triggers the fear again. So
yeah, for example, yeah, everything gets triggered in a relationship, and the solution cannot be found at the working place or in the public, because it's not safe. For transformation, we need safety as a starting point.
yeah, we don't dare even to go, because I attended a lot of seminars and everything, and I thought I know all my problems, and I can deal with it, because I learned from the meta. Oh, I can watch at the problem, but I was not really in, like I said, the sharing is somehow being in the moment of the feeling.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, the problem as it appears for a client is not what it's all about. Yeah. The problem is what we think is the problem, but the problem is never the problem. It's always on the relational level. Yeah, and of course we can deal with problems, we can solve problems, but the course is about sharing. It's not about solving something or changing something. It is really, really important to know and understand it, because otherwise people running around desperately and trying this and trying that, and they have no orientation where to go and what really helps. So I'm really happy that we can have this discussion, because it's so simple. Actually, the process is so simple. It's not about solving something, it's about sharing. Yeah, and if you hear that the first time, well, you say, but the implications are so fundamentally different. But because if I share, I don't do anything. I don't try to change anything. I don't try to reach something. Sharing is energy flow. It's not nothing on the outside. And if I jump into problem solving or reaching or training or development, I'm lost. I'm absolutely lost.
Yeah. It's like we said, the to be, to do, to have. And we always said, oh, okay, especially in the English language, we are not human doings, we are human beings. And when you talk about sharing, it's just share the being, just stay on the level of the being.
Sorry, I have to interrupt. It's not about the being. The being has no problems. What we share are the emotions. The being is something else. Being is what contains everything.
Okay.
Yeah, because this creates so much confusion.
Yes.
If we talk about the being doesn't need anything. It has no relationship. It's no object.
Yes.
Yeah, but the problem is on our human level. Yeah, it's what's moving inside of us. It's not the being. It's what's moving inside of us has to be shared to remove the connection to the life thread that came from childhood.
Okay.
It's nothing spiritual or esoteric. It's really very simple on the physical level.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Just what it gets me aware. Well, that's a problem on the duality level of duality. In the words, we easily interpret them different. We need a kind of glossa to really clear of what we mean.
Yeah.
That. And what I try to say is just we are trained from school and everything about the doing, what you need to do, and you have the right answer and everything. But who you really are, you're not allowed to share, or what you feel and all those things. And somehow I say also, we are at the time, maybe the first time in the history of planet Earth, because artificial intelligence is coming, a lot of work we don't need to do anymore. It's just about now we have a chance to really create what we could call really humanity, going away from it. We could go to better relationships and everything. But we are missing words. We simply haven't no words for, I have a lot of words for sicknesses, how awful I can feel, but not for happiness and everything. And like we said, for sharing, we don't really have the difference in the wording. Do you?
Sharing. I call it honest sharing.
Honest
This
sharing.
is the term of my method, the name honest sharing. Very simple. We share what's there. Yeah. But yeah, it's new learning. Yeah, it's the humanity is at the, well, needs to come back to connection, to sharing from wars and escape and struggle. We have forgotten that it's possible to share what's inside of us. Humanity has completely forgotten that, and it gets enforced by the sick media, the public media, and that's why my so important. I try to help people to remember that everything inside of you can be shared in a way that it's not hurting or threatening your partner. And if you can do that both, you live in paradise. And if you don't do that, you live in hell. And then you create the hell outside because you think the problem's outside. No, the problem is not outside. There is no problem. There is no problem. There are just things that are not shared.
Yeah. Okay, a good chance to make another break. So a lot of business is what we have in the world, and everything is just on an even more education. If I remember my school life, I was interpreting a lot of poems and stories and making another word around. It was never about this honest sharing. But the whole society is a kind of, well, the business, right? And I wouldn't say all, but very extreme, is a lot of just of fake. Everything is about outside of everything. What is your experience or your, I want to say, dream, or how you proceed when you on one hand says, oh, it's so difficult reaching people, how to really help people that they can learn more honest sharing? Because honest sharing, you're not saying what they should share, you just said be true to yourself and share what you really feel.
Yeah, and it's important the how. The honest sharing is an instruction how to do that. Yeah, this is the point, and everyone who tries it is absolutely amazed. Yeah, it's
so if this is the key, then can you just give the listener kind of guidance, or like we said, you need another person for it?
We cannot heal alone. It's not possible. We need at least another one. You can do that in a group, but at least another partner you need for that. Yeah, it's like you would ask, I mean, for example, you have a crying baby, and you would ask, can the crying baby help itself? No, it's not possible. And this is our state. We cannot, on that level, we cannot help ourselves. We are not meant for that. Yeah. The reptiles maybe, but not the mammals. So we need each other, and I mean, it may go too far to explain the honest sharing here in detail, but just to give some rough
direction,
an overview. Honest sharing means everyone has a fixed time slot. That means if we have a couple, the first one shares 5 minutes, the other only listens. And the listening is the second part. We need someone who wants and does it. Listen. Without a listener, nothing changes. Then the other one shares, talks 5 minutes, and the first one just listens. So by doing in that way, the whole power structure, the whole power struggle disappears, because both know they have their time to share their inner movements, so they can allow themselves to listen. Otherwise, the usual discussion is nothing more than a power fight, a power struggle. So this is the basis. And then the sharing is in a way that we get more and more disconnected from the identification of the three experience layers, that is body sensations, emotions, and thoughts. Yeah. So, for example, I say in my body I feel relaxation, or I feel sadness. Yeah. or my head thinks that we are just doing honest sharing. And the most difficult thing is to get disidentified from the mind. And honest sharing means we use predefined beginnings of sentences. So we start every sentence with a predefined term. And if we do that, then the magic happens. And well, if your listeners, I mean, if you hear that for the first time, it sounds strange and crazy. But you have to do it. You have to try it and read the instructions, and then you will have a result. The result is guaranteed. It's not maybe, it's absolutely guaranteed if you do it correctly.
Yeah, it's interesting. Somehow it reminds me of the film Karate Kid, where the young kid needed to just hang the jacket, and it was falling down, hang the jacket. How stupid is that? To learn to be the super fighter. But so simple things can prepare one. Well, they're very interesting. I just got another huge aha for me, because I mentioned Harville Hendricks, also the safe dialogue, and even the Jesuits had something with listen and just be patient and then repeat to make the focus on the other person, and then get an understanding. Is it what you really mean? This is maybe an interesting, if you want to get a result, that you really have a chance to come together. But you even say, no, forget, you don't need to repeat. It's just in this,
no, it's not about,
in this way, it's just about learn to share.
We don't need to understand anything. This is another illusion. We don't have to understand, we don't have to repeat, we don't have to whatsoever. We just have to listen. And we have to share. This is enough and creates the magic. And we don't want that, because that opens the word term in English, box of Pandora. I don't know it opens everything. And that's why we all do all kinds of things around it. I mean, imagine how easy that is. I share my emotions and the other listens. I mean, how complicated is that? But for humanity at that point, it's almost impossible. It's easier to create to go to war, to do complicated scientific developments. Yeah, the whole energy is distracted. It's away from that connection. It's distorted into science, into war, into power, into hierarchy, into all kinds of outside nonsense. Yeah, the humanity tries to solve their suffering on the outside, and the result is a catastrophe.
Yeah, it's the same even there when we had this dialogue with repeating, when we say in the beginning patience, because nearly everybody I had in the seminars agreed, yes, if the other person is talking, I am busy preparing what I say next. And it's a kind of I'm in the war already.
This is the war, yes.
Yeah, I need to say something and fight the other person. And that's the easiest way not to realize what's really going on in me, looking on the outside again.
Yeah.
So is there anything what you could say, what could be another super tip to learn to really focus on yourself? If there's nobody, can I just sit there and try to listen, like you said, the three sensations, if it's a body, emotion, or my thoughts, just to get more awareness of it?
You see, this question comes all the time. I hear that often. What can I do alone? The question itself is the result of developmental trauma. Because in childhood, we were alone with our conflict. So the whole nervous system gets the idea that we have to solve the problem on our own, that nobody's there. And from there, the question arises. It would be the same as if I would ask, how can I survive without food? It makes no sense. So the question itself is already the distortion. And we live on a planet with 8 billion people. So the question, what can I do alone, makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense, and is not necessary. It's not necessary anymore to deal with things alone. to deal with things alone for us with mammal nervous systems is terror. It's horrible. Yeah, that's not needed. So it's not about what we can do alone. It's how to establish the connection. This is where we have to look at it. And of course, I understand your question. And I mean, I hear if someone talks, I always not hear with a I hear the childhood. If someone talks, he's actually talking all the time about the childhood conflict. Yeah, and we have to look at there where the solution is. So I will never answer this question because I would bring you and the listeners into a total different and wrong direction. Because the idea itself is the problem. There are so many people. Why would you try, or why would we try something alone? It's not needed anymore. We have to find together again. Yeah, on all levels, on the physical level, helping each other, on the emotional level, on all levels, we have to come back to ourselves. And then we don't need all the nonsense that has been created around us.
Very interesting. Just on the intellectual level, I feel misunderstood because my question was a little bit different, more like, oh, I can prepare and be better and faster in this. But on a deeper level, you're totally right. It's just another version of
yeah, I understand.
Child is crying.
I understand, but life cannot be prepared.
Yeah.
You cannot prepare for life. You cannot prepare for anything. You cannot prepare for relationship, for love. Preparing means a concept of time into the future, but there is no time. It's always here now. So we can share what's here now. We cannot prepare for sharing. Yeah, it's not needed. Why not share directly without getting lost in time and space?
Wonderful said, and it's a wonderful wording for these close of this episode, because on one level you're totally right, there is no time, but here we have not enough time. Here is the end of the time. Gopal, thank you very much. I love also to be corrected by you because it gives so much more insight and freedom afterwards. We will put on the note here also your website, and so is there something else? What is the best way to reach you?
Well, the best way, I think, is the taking part in the online events, because it's very cheap and you can benefit much from that. So I would say to reach more people, many people, if you're interested, this is the easiest and cheapest way.
Thank you very much for today, and looking forward to whatever next step will come. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.
This was another episode of Winspiration, Wisdom and Information to support you getting out of illusions, false identifications, limiting beliefs. We all have the power and potential to be more, do more, have more, give more. Reality is what is possible in the universe, and the best is yet to come. If you want to dive deeper into possibilities of creating the extraordinary future, go to winspiration.global or to wolfgangsonnenburg.com. More information and some free downloads like the email program Dream Goals Reality or a copy of the book The Best Is Yet to Come can be found on the UK Health Radio website under the Listen on Demand and Presenters section. Join us again next week on the Winspiration Show for more wisdom and information to create your extraordinary future.